the Metrodome in downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. The NFC Central Division rivals, the Green Bay Packers, come to town to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Good afternoon, everybody. Vern Lundquist along with Dan Fouts. These two rivals meeting for the 65th time, and they are dead even. They are also even in the standings this year, Dan, 1-1. Minnesota coming off the bye. They have some offensive problems, and they've made some changes.
Well, the biggest change, of course, has been offensive coordinator. Brian Billick takes over in offense, and he promises to open things up and use his entire offensive arsenal. And part of that is being physical, and this man here, Barry Word. Word had a fantastic opener against the Bears 2 weeks ago, but it'll also be Steve Jordan in the passing game. After McMahon fakes to Word, he'll be trying to find Jordan down the middle.
The Green Bay Packers come in 1-1. They dropped a game to Philadelphia 2 weeks ago. They did so when they gave up a lot of yards late in the game. They also lost Ryan Noble, their linebacker, to injury. He's out for the year.
And that's a huge loss for Green Bay. George Kuntz will take Noble's place, but this is George's third position change this year. Taking over for Kuntz will be #1 draft pick Wayne Simmons. Now, Simmons is making his first NFL start. The best thing going for him, though, is big number 92 will be in front of him, and that, of course, is Reggie White.
The Green Bay Packers have won the toss and will receive, going from our left to right, Fuad Reveas, who has been bothered by an injured ankle since the first preseason game, will kick off. Corey Harris will try and get it. He is #1 in the NFL in kickoff returns and had an outstanding game in this element of football 2 weeks ago. Here's Reveas' kick, and it will be Corey Harris at the 6. Flag is down, and this one will come back, I would imagine.
97.
97 is Keith Traylor.
97.
And
97, illegal block.
We got you. Howard Rowe making the call. Illegal block against the Packers, so they'll start backed up.
Illegal block on a return, number 97, receiving team. 10-yard penalty.
That's Keith Traylor and Howard Rowe making the call in the background, and here is Brett Favre. Had a rough game against Philadelphia, particularly in the fourth quarter. Rutgers and Winters, Campen, Galbraith, and Tootie Robbins up front. And John Stevens, Edgar Bennett start in the backfield. The wide receivers are Sterling Sharp and Mark Clayton. And the tight end is Jackie Harris. First down and 10 from the 15-yard line. A year ago, in the 92 season, last game of the year, Green Bay needed to win here to get into the playoffs. They were thumped 27-7. Handoff for a couple of yards out near the 17-yard line. And it's Edgar Bennett with the carry. The Viking defense still robust. Dolman and Randall and Thomas and Barker. The Vikings expect John Randall to have a big day. Strickland, Del Rio, and Carlos Jenkins are the linebackers. And in the secondary, it'll be Audrey McMillan, Vincey Glenn, Todd Scott, and Carl Lee. Vincey Glenn had 3 interceptions in that last game of the regular season a year ago. Second down and 8. Barb, quick setup, under some pressure from Dolman, gets rid of it for Sterling Sharp, who catches a pass for the 74th consecutive game. And Brett Favre had Dolman almost draped on his back.
Probably the quickest starter in football off the mark. Here's Dolman, just gets right by Ken Rutgers. Rutgers can only get 2 hands on him, but Favre showing his athletic ability and quick release, and the Packers pick up a first down.
Dolman, in the first game a year ago between these two, had 2 sacks and was named the Defensive Player of the Week. In the last game, he was held sackless by Rutgers, and Rutgers thought that was a really significant accomplishment. Here's offside Roy Barker. Vikings don't mind being offside, do they?
Well, their defensive line coach, John Tierlink, as we hear the obvious call here.
Offside, number 92, defense. Moving across, unabated move to the quarterback, 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Now, we are in the 90s now. That was an unabated move across the line at the quarterback. When I played, that was offside. Jeez. But Tierlink doesn't mind that defensive line jumping off sides. He says if we're going to sack 5 times a game, we want our guys to be off sides 5 times a game. Sends a message to the quarterback each time they do.
John Stevens comes way wide right. Favre short set up, fires it high, and gets it out to Sterling Sharp, whose progress is impeded. That means he was tackled.
Yeah, oh, you're getting right into it, aren't you?
Yeah.
One thing the Packers know, that to try to keep that rush away from them, they're going to have to go to some 3-step drops. That's what Favre does here. Look at this catch, though, by Sharp. A high one. He knows he's going to get hit in the back by McMillan. Makes a catch and then tries to stretch out to pick up the first down, and he did close enough to bring up this measurement.
Sterling Sharp, who caught 108 last year and setting a new National Football League record, and the record-setting catch came in the game here, December 27th, just short. Sharp also says he expects, there's John Teerlink.
One of the more colorful coaches in football. Most defensive line coaches have some type of gimmick, and Teerlink is no exception. Uses the green football in practice to sharpen the defensive line's eyes, and they go more on movement, not on the color of the ball. But Teerlink says they were offsides 34 times last year on defense. They got 51 sacks to the quarterback, and he was upset that they didn't have 51 offsides. Strange man.
Good friend.
Good coach, too.
2nd and 1. No score. They test the middle, and Edgar Bennett gets out near the 37. That'll be a first down and 10. Henry Thomas and John Randall, the interior of that Minnesota defensive front 4.
And Randall is what they call the under tackle in this lineup, and he will line up opposite the tight end on offense and always over the guard. So he will be facing Frank Winters when he's at right under tackle, and then at left under tackle he'll go against Big Harry Galbraith.
Now Henry Thomas over James Campen. He's cocked in that familiar style. Here comes Dolman around the back door. Favre gets rid of it out of the backfield, and that's going to be a first down. John Stevens, acquired in a trade after a couple of non-productive years with the New England Patriots.
That's really something that the Packers have to do, is in this style of offense, a 2-back offense, the San Francisco West Coast, whatever you want to call it, the halfbacks and the fullbacks are very important in the passing game. Holmgren told us yesterday that both Stevens and Bennett have to be more involved. That's just Stevens' 3rd catch of the year, and coming into today, Bennett only has 3. So look for them to get some more action today as well.
Packers are moving early. They have a first down 10 at their own 48-yard line. And they've got a big hole right side. John Stevens all the way down to the 41st and 10 Green Bay. A 12-yard pickup for John Stevens.
And what you want to do is run right at this team. Watch the good block here by the lead back, Edgar Bennett, taking care of his running mate in the outside. He takes care of Del Rio. That opens up the huge hole. Galbraith got a nice seal block on the inside, and this is an impressive opening drive for Green Bay.
In each of the last 2 games, both of which Minnesota won, Green Bay has scored on its opening drive. They jumped out 7-0 early in that game that meant so much to them last year. Now Favre has the play clock down to 5 seconds, and he calls timeout.
Some real confusion on the part of John Stevens as to where to line up.
No score, 10:37 remaining in the opening quarter. The Green Bay Packers have moved from their own 15 to the 40. They're looking for a 1,000-yard rusher, Dan, something they've not had since Turdell Middleton in 1978.
And so far this year, their running backs are all averaging less than 4 yards a carry, which is usually the mark that you want to see your running backs get to. But they are off to a good start today, using quick openers, running straight at this front 4 of the Vikings.
Now they've got Bennett to the left side. That's the power side. And here's the toss to Stevens with Frank Winters pulling out. And Stevens cuts it up off Winters' block. He's down at the 36-yard line, a gain of 4. John Stevens was a #1 draft choice out of Northwest Louisiana State. And he had a 1,000-yard season with the New England Patriots. He's not had one since, and he really has struggled the last couple of years.
And Holmgren, though, he has not lost faith in him, though. Told us yesterday that he wants to see Stevens get between 75 and 80 yards today. If he does that, he feels that the Packers have an excellent chance of winning this game.
2nd and 6. No score. Green Bay and the Packers both come in 1-1. Blitz. Favre gets good protection, reads it, and goes deep into double coverage as Vincey Glenn had come over to help out Audrey McMillan. The pass intended for Sterling Sharp.
This is what Favre sees. He sees Del Rio and those eyes bugging out, knows that he's coming at the quarterback, and both Rutgers and Bennett just dropped Del Rio, but the message is sent to Favre, hey, we're going to be a little bit out of our custom here as Viking defenders. We're going to come after you because we saw Philadelphia give you all kinds of problems 2 weeks ago.
Through 2 games, the Packers are converting 42% on third down. They have a 3rd and 6. Screen pass, right side. First screen pass they've thrown this year. And they've got Edgar Bennett with a first down. Brett Favre is looking over at Mike Holmgren with a big sigh of thank you. He said last night he wanted to use the screens and the draws. That is the first screen pass they've thrown in '93.
And one of the things it does is it really slows down that pass rush. But in the secondary that time, everybody's looking for Sterling Sharp. Sharp came in motion, crossed over the middle, and Bennett was just one diving tackle by Vincey Glenn from going all the way.
First down and 10 at the 25. Double tight end now. Ed West has come in. He's tight to the right. Bennett, the only running back. Play act. No, they hand it off to Bennett. And he surges his way down to the 15-yard line. Todd Scott with a tackle, gain of 9.
The key block on this play, Vern, is on right here. Jackie Harris and Ken Rutgers. They're going to pin inside Chris Dolman. And that allows Bennett to get that huge hole on the outside. Nice job also by Mark Clayton as they picked up 9 yards.
Second down and 1. Opening drive of the ball game. We've got 8:25 to go first quarter. And the Packers already with 31 yards on the ground. They slip it up the middle to Bennett, and he bangs his way down to the 10-yard line. That's a gain of 5 and another Green Bay first down.
In talking to Denny Green yesterday, he said that he felt that the Packers underestimated his ball club last year when they came in here looking for one win to make it into the playoffs. They had a nice, impressive opening drive. Harry Sidney scored on a touchdown, a run, and then that was it for the Packers. But right now, it looks like the Vikings are the team that may have underestimated the Packers.
First down and 10. Brett Favre has his team at the 11-yard line officially. Back split. Sharp right, Clayton to the left. Corners up, and the blitz is coming. Favre rolls out. Chased by Glenn, and has Edgar Bennett open at the goal line. He is down at the 1-foot line. Vincey Glenn in the face of Brett Favre, and he still found Bennett open.
He's such a good athlete, Vern. He saw this blitz coming. Watch Glenn, number 25 rather, come free on the quarterback. Favre feels him, sees him, keeps his eyes downfield, finds Bennett, and now Bennett gets right to the goal line, and Campen is too late to push him in, as he did with Jackie Harris 2 weeks ago against Philadelphia. We got to get Campen on the horse there a little bit, Vern, to get that touchdown. He would have been the difference here. He was hustling, just couldn't get to Bennett in time. What a great play by Favre, though. Not only to run away from the pressure, but to keep his eyes downfield, throw dangerously across the middle, and find a receiver.
Second down and 1. Green Bay Packers are going after their 500th victory in the history of the franchise today. They've got a second and goal, or second and 1 at the 1. No. Third down.
Great play by Henry Thomas, Vern, submarining underneath Campen, and he took away the legs of Campen and Favre. Watch Thomas right in the middle just go real low here and push the center back, and then push Favre back. Also, Harry Galbraith was a little bit too high. Great job by that entire defensive line, and Thomas in particular keeping Favre out of the end zone.
3rd down and 1. Touchdown. For the 3rd time in the last 3 games, the Green Bay Packers have scored on their opening drive. Minnesota won the last 2.
Isn't there some song that says, you take the low road, I'll take the high road?
Right.
Well, the low road didn't work the first time. So far, kind of leaped over the entire pile and got in.
Chris Jackie will try the extra point. Brian Wagner will hold. Green Bay Packers go 85 yards.
Favre is no dummy. He couldn't go low, so he's going to jump over the top and become a cheese sandwich.
.605 remaining in the first quarter of play. The Green Bay Packers 85 yards to open the ball game. Brett Favre gets it officially. That was a 2-yard carry. That all has to do with where the first down chain was. Could they or could they not have gotten the first down, and they did. So when you see Favre ran for 2 yards for the touchdown, you go, what they talking about? We were talking about it. Chris Jackie will kick off. Kadri Ismail, this is a new kickoff return scheme used for the first time this season now by the Minnesota Vikings. Ismail out to the 25. Time has been called on the field. Jim McMahon and the Vikings have it for the first time. Vikings on offense for the first time, and this is an unusual offensive line in that we've grown so familiar to the names they had for years. Lindsey, McDaniel is still there. Tim Irwin also, but Adam Schreiber and Scott Adams new starters. The backs and receivers, Barry Word gets his start today. Kadri Ismail, Chris Carter, Anthony Carter, and Steve Jordan. They are in the I. First down at the 25. Play action up and hand it off. It's Barry Word, not much there. Defensively for the Packers, Sean Patterson, Bill Moss is listed as a starter, though Matt Brock is starting in his spot. Reggie White at left end. Pop and Holland. George Kuntz replaces the injured Brian Noble, and Wayne Simmons, the rookie, and the secondary Mitchell and Pryor, Butler and Terrell Buckley. 2nd down and 9. Pop lined up right over the center that time. They've got McMahon at the 20. Bryce Pop lined up in the middle, and Wayne Simmons in his first start gets the sack.
They'll probably have to share it with Pop, but I think the key, though, Vern, is, as you called it, Pop lined up right over the center, and after the play-action fake, McMahon had absolutely no time. He's got his back to what's happening up here, and now all of a sudden, that pocket is collapsed, and Simmons gets in there high. Pop is low, and it's a big loss for Minnesota.
3rd down and 14. McMahon out of the shotgun. This is the first time the Vikings have used this formation this year. And Reggie strolls across. That's going to be Tim Irwin moving. Irwin and Reggie White, former teammates. There is Brian Billick, the 39-year-old new offensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings.
Not exactly the kind of start he wanted to see. They get stuffed on first down with the run. Quarterback gets sacked on 2nd down. And now on 3rd down, one of his primary offensive linemen, Tim Irwin, jumps off sides.
5 yards makes it 3rd and 19. And again, the shotgun. Chris Carter in motion. Screen pass right side, caught by Barry Word. And he's dumped at the 24. It'll be 4th down. Nice start defensively for Green Bay.
And the Cheeseheads, who came here from Wisconsin, are giving the Packers a nice hand because of that fine start. This dome has been criticized for lack of noise, well, because of all the Packer fans here today, which should be nice and noisy.
Harry Newsom, number 3 in the league with a 49-yard average. More impressively, he's got a 42-yard net average. That's number 1 in the league.
But sometimes the better the punter, the better the return. Packers think they can bring one back.
And Terrell Buckley's good at it. This is he's outkicked his coverage by a ton. At the 21. Fumble! A fortuitous bounce right into the hands of the Green Bay Packers. And Buckley will try and shake that one off.
Yeah, James Willis got a nice bounce. Novoselsky slapped that ball away from Buckley, but it went right to James Willis.
That's a 54-yard punt, 11 on the return, and a penalty against Green Bay.
2 kicks, 2 penalties against Holmgren special teams.
Packers do have the ball back with 3:49 remaining first quarter. For number 500 in the NFL today, their first win in the old National Pro Football League at the expense of the Minneapolis Marines. That team was owned by the Acme Packing Company and led by halfback and team founder Earl Curly Lambeau, who also happened to be in his first year as head coach of the team. And here they are 73 years later looking for win number 500. They lead at 7-0.
Real good start for the Packers as they took that opening drive a long way and ate up a lot of this first quarter clock. Their time of possession against the Eagles was just terrible, and that's one thing Holmgren has to have, at least 24 points and the edge in time of possession.
Backs are split, the ball at the 22. Favre back to throw. A little high, intercepted by Carlos Jenkins.
Ball came out wobbling a little bit firm, but as you said, it was a little bit high, and what it does is it allows Carl Lee to knock it out of Clayton's hands, and a good drop by Jenkins. Look at him just guard his zone perfectly. Lee comes over with the strip across the arms, and Jenkins is there for the rebound. Big turnover for the Vikes.
First pick of the season for Carlos Jenkins, who's now playing at 211 pounds. Not the heftiest linebacker in the league. Double tight end set. Mike Tice is in. And it's going to be Barry Word testing the middle. Barry Word, who spent his career in New Orleans and Kansas City involved in a protracted contractual negotiation with the Chiefs. Finally, the trade was worked out, and he came here late in preseason.
And ironically, he left Kansas City because they brought in Marcus Allen, and they changed the offense to a 49er style. He comes to Minnesota 2 weeks ago. They're in the Washington style where they're going to run the ball all the time. Bang, the coordinator's gone, and they're back in the 49er style.
He had 94 yards in the last game against Chicago 2 weeks ago. 2nd and 7. Here's Word again. Hit behind the line by Bill Moss, who's in at the nose tackle spot. Bryce Popp, also a part of it. Well, take a look at the changes in Minnesota. New quarterback, Terry Allen out, Barry Word in. 3 new offensive linemen, 2 rookies at the skill positions, and Brian Billick, the new offensive coordinator.
And it's just the 3rd game of the year.
Beware the bye.
Oh, if you're an assistant coach or a head coach, you got to look out for that bye.
3rd down. That's Chris Carter in motion. McMahon looking left all the way. Fires it, and it'll be close for the first down. Have to see where the forward progress is marked. Steve Jordan, the tight end. They may have come up a yard short.
Billick told me yesterday he wants to give Jordan the opportunity to catch between 6 and 10 passes today. He's been to the Pro Bowl 6 times, and it's not because he's a great blocker or pass blocker. It's because he's a great receiver. Maybe the best tight end receiving the ball in the league. And he's in his 12th year.
That'll bring on Fuad Reveas, and he's been bothered by that ankle. He's only 1 of 3, and the one field goal was 22 yards. This one will be from 35 yards out. That's plenty of distance, and he knocked it home. But a moral victory for Mike Holmgren and his bunch. They give up the interception, the turnover, but they hold Minnesota to a field goal. They didn't start at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, this is great. The Sheboygan group comes over. They get a bus ticket, a beer, a brats, and then they get to put a funny hat on and sit as a group. There they are, way up in the corner of the end zone. See that, Vern? These are those used to be called cheap seats in the
now
stadium.
They're called cheese seats.
There are no cheap seats anymore in any NFL stadium, but
13 busloads of Packer fans from Sheboygan made it down here. It is an intense rivalry because of the proximity of the two towns. Only 275 miles away.
And before the Vikings joined the NFL, most of the fans that lived in Minnesota were Packer fans.
Now Revea's getting ready to kick off. Corey Harris and Darrell Thompson, who played collegiately in this building for the University of Minnesota, are back. Good kick by Reveas. That's a yard back, and Harris will bring it out. Out to the 19-yard line. If you're going to bring it out of the end zone, you'd better get to the 20.
Yeah, and his momentum was carrying him backwards. That might have been a mistake by Harris, but you can't blame him. He's had such great success already this year.
Detroit leading Phoenix 6-0. And Tampa Bay continues to hold the lead over Chicago. Rams early over the Houston Oilers. Boy, if Houston goes 1-3, the noise level in that part of the state, Texas, will be raised.
Interesting in Detroit, Andre Ware got the start for Rodney Peete today.
First down and 10. Chris Dolman goes against Ken Rutgers in one of the really interesting matchups today. And the Packers get big hole up the middle. John Stevens.
That's one thing the Vikings have trouble with, are big physical offensive lines coming right off the ball and running the ball straight up the middle. Great job. Also, when you add the fullback right in here, Edgar Bennett as the lead blocker, this is just good old-fashioned football. Del Rio is taken down and misses a tackle, and Bennett, Stevens rather, is in the secondary for a 22-yard gain.
First down at the 42. 7-3, Green Bay leads. They hand it off to Stevens again, and he gets across midfield to the 49. Dan, we talked with Denny Green yesterday, and he said the teams that do well against us, like San Diego and Washington, are the teams that pound us.
Well, they're just an undersized defense. So you talked about Carlos Jenkins as a linebacker, weighs 211 pounds. Green's team relies on speed and quickness. If the offense is allowed to get a hat on them, to push them, to muscle them, this defense has problems.
Mike Holmgren alluded to that yesterday afternoon. He said, we've got to run the ball right at them. That's not normally our style, but it's the only thing that's going to work against Minnesota. Well, it has worked really well so far. 85-yard opening drive for the touchdown that has given the Packers a 7-3 lead at the end of the first quarter. Back for quarter number 2, Vern Lundquist and Dan Fouts, the Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings. How much did that loss to the Vikings sting Mike Holmgren and the Packers? He told us yesterday they've been planning for this game since January.
Well, he felt that this is the team. Obviously, the Vikings won the division last year, so you got to point at the defending champ as a team you got to beat. And Holmgren, as you said, has been studying this Viking defense, and he has an excellent game plan working so far.
And they have done it on the ground. In that last game last year, they had 27 total yards rushing. Already, John Stevens with 47 yards, Edgar Bennett with 19, and a couple of really big blocks.
And now, you know, all Packer fans, the 2nd and 1, right, Vern?
Right. You
got to fake the run and throw the post. I mean, that's part of the G on the helmet.
Star, Dowler,
touchdown. You've heard that before.
Ray Scott, an old friend and a and a hero of a lot of us in broadcasting.
You bet.
Second down and 1. Yep, they weren't listening.
And I don't think he got it.
That'll bring
Nice
up a
job
third
by
down.
Vincey Glenn coming up and turning Bennett to the side and stopping his momentum. Told you they should have faked it and gone deep. That's what everybody at home's saying too.
That's what Star and Dollar are saying. And I know Ray Scott's thinking it. It'll be third down, we believe. Let's stretch the chain and see.
Yeah.
Third down.
And the key was Vincey Glenn, number 25. Here he is right here, and he's just going to come up as he sees the line fire out and block, and it's a cleanup job at the end. Right here, that turns Bennett to the side and kills his momentum.
Third and a foot. Vincey Glenn, who was the defensive player of the week in the NFL after that last game of the season last year. 3 interceptions against Favre. Third and a foot. Quarterback sneak, he comes left. Fumble. Who got it? Ball's loose. And there's somebody kicking in the middle of that scrum.
And he's not even on the bottom of the pile. I think the guy on the bottom of the pile feels. Favre dropped this ball. It would look like a bad exchange between him and James Campen. It's just a good thing these guys have face masks on, because you know they'd be fighting each other down there.
Now, we still had no indication of who's got the football. The Packers are indicating they've got it.
And no signal from the officials usually indicates that it is the offense that retains possession.
Roger McMillan will argue that, so will Vincey Glenn. They're the last two up.
There's the fourth down call. You see the fist held up by Howard Rowe. I would prefer that he just point one way or the other.
It is Green Bay's ball.
That's a bad exchange. Watch the ball. Favre is moving before the ball comes up, and that might have caused his hands to move underneath the center there. But it looks like Bennett is the guy that gets that fumble recovery. They're going to be short of the first down again.
Yep. Mike Holmgren's going to punt it, and he's going to do so in a state of high agitation.
Well, he's got to look at those old Packer films and see that on second and short, you fake the ball to the running back and throw the post to Sharp.
You're going after your 500th win. You pay attention to the history.
Absolutely. And a lot of history there is.
Eric Gulliford will punt it back. Here's Brian Wagner. Almost blocked. Gulliford has it. And the coverage man, Corey Harris, ran right by him. And then Gulliford strolls out of bounds. 14 minutes and 12 seconds remaining, first half of play. Vikings have it back, trailing by 4. Reached the 100th victory milestone. By the late 30s, the Packers would chalk up their 5th NFL title, led by a flashy end named Don Hudson. 13 years later, victory number 200 came on the heels of halfback Tony Canadeo. The Packers were still coached by Curly Lambeau. They go for number 500 today. Dan Fouts and Vern Lundquist here, where it's easy to establish a bunker-like mentality.
Yeah, but we still have a 50-yard line seat, so it's not too bad.
You're right.
But, you know, you see those old pictures of the Packers, and we got a couple more to show as we update their quest for number 500. But it really takes you back to the history of the NFL, because when you think about the history, you think about people like Curly Lambeau and the Green Bay Packers, the Gonzaga Bulldog, Tony Canadeo. They just don't have nicknames like that anymore.
Canadeo is one of only 4 Packers to have his number retired. Hudson, Starr, and Nitschke are the other 3. And they will not retire anymore. First down and 10, McMahon. Short setup, fires it. Anthony Clutter makes the catch at the 26-yard line. Detroit and Phoenix playing up at the Silverdome. Let's go back to Greg and get an update.
All right, Tim, at the Silverdome, watch Steve Berline set up plenty of time, and Ricky Kroll has his man beaten deep, 51 yards for the touchdown. The extra point puts the Cardinals on top of Detroit, 7-6, second quarter. Tim?
Well, this is burned, but we'll try it anyway. First down and 10. Barry Word out to the 30-yard line.
Interesting, we go back one play, and McMahon throws the ball, obvious audible on this quick slant to Anthony Carter, and that was his first time he threw a ball on first down. It looks like the same old offense so far for the Vikings, running on first down instead of throwing the ball. But that's one thing Billick says, we have to be physical in order for the entire offensive picture to work. And being physical means pounding the ball with Barry Word.
7-3 the ball game. We're under the 13-minute mark. Second
Miami
down
up on top of Buffalo 16-0 already.
Wow.
Sorry about that.
Back to come. Harris Carter in front of Leroy Butler. That's another Minnesota first down.
We talked about Reggie White yesterday. He says, I'm going to line up on both sides and in the middle. This is his first time as the right defensive end working against Everett Lindsay, but McMahon and Billick are just going to go to short passing, quick drops to nullify the great pass rush of Reggie White.
Charles Evans comes into the backfield for the first time. They slip the ball up the middle to Word. And he's got a couple of yards down to up to the 44-yard line. Jim McMahon, who spent the last couple of years in Philadelphia.
Had a pretty good record against the entire NFC Central. Of course, he played so many years with the Bears, and they were the dominant team during McMahon's tenure there. Asked him about this new pass offense, and is it complicated? And he said, no, first guy that gets open is going to get the ball.
As a matter of fact, McMahon is 28-5 as a starting quarterback against other NFC Central teams. 28-5. Four-man rush. Screen pass. Evans has it. Knocked down at the 49. That's a yard short of the first down. George Kuntz, number 53, made the tackle.
That's a way of nullifying the pass rush of Reggie White, along with the quick setting drops. Reggie had good pressure that time, but Irwin just kind of let him come in. Keep coming, keep coming. He knows that his quarterback is going to throw the screen right over him. Irwin's goal is to get beat slowly, not let Reggie get off inside quickly. And Tim knows that he can just tie him up. McMahon will have time to dump the ball over his head, and they pick up enough yardage close to the first down. Screen pass has been very effective for the Vikings because they have very mobile offensive linemen. Randall McDaniel and Scott Adams and their center Adam Schreiber all run well.
Need about a half a foot for the first down at the 48-yard line. Reggie White, talking with us last night, said he wants people to understand that he is not in Green Bay for the money alone. Said he thought there was a perception that he had gone strictly for the money, but he said that he and his family were happier than they'd ever been. He's on the right side now on 3rd and 1. And they go that direction, and Barry Word should have enough for the first down.
Yeah, Word really packs quite a load there. 245 pounds. And he hit Reggie right in the chest. But part of the reason is Tice. Watch him block on Reggie right here. He'll tie him up, and then number 23 is going to drop his helmet right into Reggie's chest. And again, another great block by number 64, Randall McDaniel, on the linebacker.
First down and 10, Minnesota. 10:20 to go, first half. Time of possession, the 5-minute edge to Green Bay so far. Play action. McMahon finds Steve Jordan. That's what they wanted to do more than anything today, was involve Steve Jordan in the passing offense.
And that's a first down pass off the play action. And they've been running it on first down. Now McMahon is going to fake the ball to Word. And then the linebackers move up. And the tight end slips in behind him. And Jordan takes it to the 30. But this really keeps the defense on their toes, especially the linebackers. They have to read their keys and either play run or pass.
Packers open the game with an impressive offensive drive. This has been Minnesota's best, obviously. Barry Word again slips through for about 4 down near the 26-yard line. Might mark it at the 27.
The fans watch the Vikings run the ball on first down. They don't get much, but Billick's thought process is, well, in order to set up the play-action pass, you got to run the ball. And whether you're effective or not, it really doesn't matter. And I think he's very successful. That success on that previous play to Jordan makes him feel good about his plan, but also the entire team.
2nd and 8. 7-3. Green Bay leads. Under 9 minutes to go first half. Comes the rush from the outside. McMahon being chased. Throws it away. Sean Patterson and Reggie White drawing a bead on Jim McMahon.
Denny Green told us yesterday that one of the reasons he changed the offensive coordinator is because he wanted to get all these guys involved. That's Tom Moore, that's Dick Corey, and Dick was just hired as a volunteer coach. But you see they're all on the headset there together, and they channel the information down to Billick and Green, who's on a headset. 4 minds are better than one, according to Denny Green. Plus, he has a very experienced and intelligent quarterback in McMahon.
Matter of fact, Brian Billick was a graduate assistant when Jim McMahon was a quarterback at Brigham Young. McMahon scrambles. First down.
He's intelligent and he's experienced, but he's also one of the all-time competitors. And even at the advanced age of 34, he couldn't turn down that huge hole. Nice block by Word, and that gets McMahon all the way inside the 20 for the first down.
First down and 10. 7-3, Green Bay. Barry Word forced out of bounds at the 17-yard line. We were chatting with Brian Billick yesterday morning about Jim McMahon, and he said sooner or later everybody who talks about McMahon will mention one thing, how smart he is. Then yesterday afternoon we chatted with Mike Holmgren. He said, you know, the thing about McMahon is his intelligence.
Billick even noticed back at BYU that when McMahon first came on campus wearing a rather descriptive T-shirt, that even though the T-shirt was a little bit off color, he had a certain presence about him that all quarterbacks must have.
Boy, that's I wondered how you were going to get around to that. Second down. Right side incomplete. Intended for Anthony Carter. Well, you talk about what a small world the business of football is. Here's Jim McMahon, who played at Brigham Young. Mike Holmgren said he called McMahon when he became an unrestricted free agent, asked him if he would be interested in Green Bay, and Jim said, I think I can start somewhere. Mike Holmgren said when he was in his first year as a head coach at Oak Grove High School in South San Jose, the starting quarterback for the biggest rival, Andrew Hill High School, was Jim McMahon.
It's a small world in pro football.
Charles Evans is in. Third down, 7-3, Green Bay. McMahon across the middle to Jordan. Move the chain, I think.
It's a nice job of McMahon being patient enough to find Jordan, because Jordan is helping out on the pass, blocking at first, and then he releases into the secondary and picks up another first down for the Vikings. But the guy's just way too talented not to use as a pass receiver, and that's really paying big dividends, as that's his third catch of the afternoon.
First and goal from the 8. Word goes left and is cut down as he reaches the 5-yard line. Tackle is made by Leroy Butler, number 36.
That's the difference you see as the Vikings have gone to Word. With Terry Allen on that type of play last year, he might have tried to outrun everybody to the corner, but Word got to the outside, and then he just headed straight up the field. He's coming out for a blow now. Chuck Evans will take his place, but Word knows his limitations, and he knows his strengths.
It'll be second down and goal from the 5. Bryce Pop. Tony Bennett, by the way, continues his holdout with the Green Bay Packers. We talked with Ron Holmes before the game. He said nothing new to report, and he expects it to be a long, protracted holdout. The beautiful city of Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Metrodome downtown, inside 65,000, and thus far, Brett Favre has had an outstanding game. The rushing edge goes to Green Bay. New Minnesota offense at 4.9 yards per play, and here comes Minnesota with Reggie White getting a rest. Interesting coaching decision now as Reggie White is out on second down and goal. He was out for the first 5 plays of the game-tying drive last week or 2 weeks ago. Here's McMahon scrambling right down at the 1.
Now Reggie's coming back in. This may be a play too late for the Packers. This has been a long drive for Minnesota. That was the 14th play of this drive. But I still got to believe that you got to have this man on the field, especially when the opponent is on your 5-yard line. There was a timeout there. He could have rested on the field. I think that's a big mistake by the Packers in having Reggie White on the sidelines. I know as a quarterback, that would make me feel good going against the Packers.
Third and goal. Evans tripped up and knocked down. McMahon got tangled up as he got back there to try and make the handoff. Jim wants to go for it, but Denny Green is going to settle for the field goal attempt.
Again, we've seen great penetration by a defensive lineman. That time it was Sean Patterson that tripped up McMahon and got in on the tackle as well. Henry Thomas did it earlier to Favre. This time it's Patterson. That was a huge play for the Packers.
Harry Newsom will hold. Fuad Rivas will try for his second field goal of the ball game. And if they have to settle for 3, another moral victory for Green Bay. It's good. A 19-yard field goal, but on the 16th play of the drive, the Vikings thought they should have had 7.
Yeah, that was a nice 4-point play by Sean Patterson, number 96, and that entire Packer defense.
Look at the Metrodome where the antics in the sidelines haven't ceased. Got the mousetrap out.
Yeah, the cat's away, so the mice are playing.
Here's the kickoff. Corey Harris at the 6. No. It's Thompson who grabbed it instead and took it away from Corey Harris. I don't know if that was by design, but he got it. Next Saturday, CBS will bring you Down the Wire with the pennant races, and you'll see the most competitive pennant race. It's do or die next Saturday. It all starts at 2:30 Eastern with Baseball 93 here on CBS. The game will be picked midweek, and they will pick the games that have the most meaning for the end of the season. Philadelphia leading Atlanta. I know you're not a strong San Francisco Giant fan at all.
Born and raised in San Francisco, seeing Willie Mays in 1958 come to San Francisco. No, I do like the Giants, Vern.
First down and 10. Bennett out to the 26-yard line. Detroit and Phoenix involved in a 7-6 game when last we checked. Let's go back and check again. Here's Greg.
Well, in Pontiac, the Silverdome, Derek Moore becomes the first running back other than Barry Sanders to score a touchdown for the Lions since Barry arrived in '88. 16-7, the Lions lead Phoenix now in the second quarter. Back to you, Vern, V-E-R-N-E. I got it down right now, bud.
Thank you, G-R-E-G. Appreciate it.
Bradshaw's helping him with the spelling too, huh?
Second down. Hand off out to the 30, John Stevens. And that'll be short of the first down. 7-6 is the score. Green Bay opened the football game with an 85-yard drive and got a touchdown to take a 7-0 lead. Vikings intercepted Brett Favre inside the 30, but had to settle for 3. And they just drove the length of the field, but came up a yard short on a 3rd down and goal and had to settle for a field goal. So that's where we are, 7-6. 3rd and 1. Favre right side. Sterling Sharp has a first down at the 39-yard line. Sterling Sharp said he expects to catch 7 a game.
And when I talked to Holmgren about the type of pass distribution he would ideally like to see, 7 is the number he gave to Sharp. But what he needs to see is the involvement of Jackie Harris. He'd like to see Harris get about 5 to 6, and he'd like to see Mark Clayton get 4 to 5.
You see how dominant
for Holmgren and the Packers yet this year.
First down and 10. Blitz. Flag was down. I think they took too long. It'll cost them 5 yards. Sterling Sharp and Carl Lee, who are business partners, ironically enough, along with Mark Clayton in a travel agency in Columbia, South Carolina.
5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
I don't think they were talking about ETAs and stuff like that, or
no.
Booking your next junket. That's what travel agents do. They book junkets.
They book junkets?
It's the only other place in the whole world you'll see that word junket.
Do they take junkets? Here's Clayton. Last week he had a 93-game consecutive catch streak end. He was blanked, not last week, but 2 weeks ago. Blitz again. Favre gets rid of it, throws it away. And he does throw it far enough. He had one like that picked off by Eric Allen in that loss to Philadelphia.
They got to do something about the way they're throwing that ball away, though. That pickoff last 2 weeks ago against the Eagles really cost Green Bay. And I would prefer to see the quarterback just sail that over the sidelines and out of bounds where he knows nobody can intercept it. I mean, why even worry about an interception? If you're throwing it away, throw it away.
Dan,
away is out of bounds.
Is the blitz bothering him again?
It appeared to on that time, but remember, earlier in the game, he handled it very well. And he handles it there.
Jackie Harris out to the 45.
That was an excellent job because nobody was guarding Jackie Harris in the slot there. So far, where one time he may have a problem, he still is intelligent enough and aware of the plan enough to find a guy that's wide open.
We have reached the 2-minute warning. There's Jackie Harris with the catch. Time has been called. 2 minutes to go, first half. Back with 2 minutes remaining in the first half of play. Green Bay with a 1-point edge and a 3rd down and 4. Brett Favre is 7 of 10 so far in the game. Vikings pack it in tight. Now Carlos Jenkins backs away. No blitz. Favre almost picked off, and then the catch is made by Mark Clayton, and he's got a first down at the 50. How about his first catch since the first week? And a big sigh of relief breathed by Brett Favre.
He had to catch it off the rebound off of Strickland's chest. But he'll take it anyway. Watch, it's another quick pass to the outside. This ball's going to hit Strickland right in the hands. And he even accommodates Clayton a little bit more, tipped it to him with his right hand.
First down and 10 at the 50. Favre back. Quick fire, right side, incomplete. Intended for Sterling Sharp.
The one thing the Vikings talked about is they realize that teams are going to go to hurry-up offenses and quick set by the quarterback. But what they want to do is speed up that quarterback's clock make him throw faster and faster and faster, and I think you're seeing the effect on Sharp now. That's 2 passes that he has rushed in a row.
Finds Bennett out of the backfield, and Bennett does, yes, he does get out of bounds. That'll stop the clock with 1:13 remaining. Carl Lee made the tackle.
And then another part of that working over the quarterback is to hit him. And that time Henry Thomas got in after Favre threw that ball. Number 97 right here is Thomas. It's a short set again by Favre, 5 steps this time, and Thomas takes his legs out. I asked Thomas if he wanted to knock any passes down. He says, heck no, if I get that close, I'm going to knock the quarterback down.
Third and 9. Dolman was across. Did he get back? That's short of the first down, and there is no flag, so Dolman did get back. Robert Brooks makes the catch in front of Audrey McMillan.
Boy, I'm not so sure he did. It looked like the ball was snapped when Dolman was still in the neutral zone. But the head linesman, George Hayward, to this side, did not throw the flag. Now decision time for Holmgren. Does he go for it on 4th and 3? Or is he going to let the clock run all the way down and then punt it?
I'd take a guess that this will be a conservative decision.
Now the Vikings ought to be using their timeouts to stop the clock.
Vikings have 2 left.
This is poor clock management by Minnesota. You got 2 timeouts. It's 4th down, and they're not using their timeouts. Green Bay's going to use it.
Green Bay Packers use a timeout to stop the clock with 25 seconds to go, first half. Towards the highlights in just 25 seconds. In the meantime, because of the time remaining, I think Mike Holmgren, Dan, has decided to go for it.
And I think if Green had used his timeouts at the end of the last play, he would have forced Holmgren to punt because the Vikings would have too much time. In fact, if the Packers don't pick up this first down.
4th and 3. Stunts, no blitz, screen pass. Edgar Bennett, he has 3 blockers in front, and he's got a first down at the 32-yard line. And now Green Bay will call timeout with 16 seconds to go.
What an excellent call by Holmgren. One thing the Packers have not done at all this year is run a screen pass. They've run 2 today, and both of them have been very effective, but a screen pass on 4th down, that's brilliant offensive coaching by Mike Holmgren. Bennett does a nice job of getting in behind his lineman and cutting upfield, picking up the first down. Took quite a lick there from Vincey Glenn, but he's back in the huddle. Great call and perfect execution.
Well, we won't know until the post-mortem on this game what Mike Holmgren's thought process was, but I think you're right on the mark. I think had Dennis Green called timeout, the Packers would have punted the ball.
There was 45 seconds when the last play ended. The clock ran all the way down to 25 seconds, and you got to believe that if Green had used those timeouts, used one of his 2 remaining timeouts, then it would have affected Holmgren's decision. Now the Packers are getting close to Jackie's field goal range.
First down and 10 at the 31. They do not have any timeouts remaining. 16 seconds to go in the first half. Favre drills it. Incomplete. Jackie Harris, the tight end.
But even if he catches this ball, Vern, the clock is going to run out. Very few teams can get their field goal team on the field in less than 15 or 20 seconds. If Jackie Harris makes this grab, he gets tackled at about the 5-yard line, and I think the clock might have run out. Jackie has a 53-yard career best, so he was already within that range.
Now this pass will either be end zone or sideline. Backs are split. Favre, deep drop, goes down the middle for Harris. Incomplete.
Yeah, if he catches that one, it's a touchdown. Perfect pass by Favre. And in this league, star players make that catch. That's not to say Harris won't be a star someday, but we'll never talk about him being a star until he makes this catch.
49-yard field goal attempt now. That, of course, was the play before. And here's Jackie. 49 yards out. Nailed it.
He nailed it big time. That ball was 10 yards deep and way high on the net. That might have gone through from 60 yards, Vern.
So the Green Bay Packers extend their lead to 4 points.
Jackie really gets into it. The Vikings had no rush at all. And he knew as soon as he hit it, it was good, as did Bryce Popp. Boy, the foot is back in football this year, isn't it?
It's amazing. 80% completion factor on attempts in the first 3 weeks of the season.
I was at the Charger-Houston game last week in San Diego, sitting with Don Coryell, and John Carney, of course, set an NFL record for most consecutive field goals at 29. And the crowd, of course, gave him a nice standing ovation. And I looked at Coryell, and he was shaking his head. And I said, "What's the matter, Coach? Has the game changed that much for you that you can't stand to see a field goal kicker get a standing ovation?"
He just shaked his head, that was all?
Well, he kind of lisped about something. I couldn't understand him.
I was hoping to get your Don Coryell impersonation here.
No, the statute of limitations hasn't quite run out on that.
Okay. Greg and Terry, scores and highlights coming up in 3 seconds. This one returned by Evans out to the 30-yard line. And that'll do it. Mike Holmgren goes for the first down on 4th and 3 with 25 seconds to go. It pays dividends. He gets a field goal and increases the Green Bay lead. That's the end of the first half with our score. The Green Bay Packers 10, the Minnesota Vikings 2 field goals, 6 points. Just about completed halftime at the Metrodome, where the Green Bay Packers have a 10-6 lead as we get ready for the second half of this ball game. Minnesota Vikings, of course, made a change at offensive coordinator. We talked, Dan, a lot about the new Minnesota offense, and we almost ignored what Green Bay had to do offensively, and they've done it very well.
They said they wanted to run the ball. Well, John Stevens has carried the ball 5 times for 52 yards, a 10-yard average, and they've been right at the heart of the Minnesota defense. And that's given Favre time to get the ball well distributed to all his receivers.
Minnesota has moved it well, but they're still having trouble scoring. They had to settle for 2 field goals.
2.5 games we've played now so far for the Vikings, and they've got just 2 touchdowns on the year to show for it. There should be some adjustments at halftime, but the big thing is you got to really be amazed at how well that new defense of the Packers has done, especially with Kuntz moving inside, taking over for Noble, and the rookie Wayne Simmons taking Kuntz's spot.
Minnesota will get the ball. Mike Holmgren's team will be on defense to start the second half of play. Chris Jackie, who kicked the 49-yard field goal. Here is Kadri Ismail, the second-round draft choice. Returned the first one 18 yards. Ismail will bring this one back. Maybe a long way. Well, he talked with us yesterday afternoon about his desire to break through and have only the kicker left to make the tackle. This time, it was not the kicker, it was Terrell Buckley. There's a difference.
Yeah, and the kicker was right behind Buckley, though. But the thing about Ismail, in his own words, he says, you can't dilly-dally when you're bringing back kickoff returns. Not many times will you find a 22-year-old use the word dilly-dally, but he certainly didn't that time. Nice return for the missile.
First down and 10, Minnesota, a 44-yard return. Pop moves inside again, over center. They bring it outside, Barry Word to the 50. That's a 6-yard gain. Mike Pryor made the tackle.
Part of this offense for Brian Billick is to get his tight ends involved. Mike Tice is a great blocking tight end. It's in his 13th year, but he does a nice job kicking out on Simmons there, opens that hole so that Word has to take on a safety instead of a linebacker.
2nd down and 4, Minnesota. Reggie White has moved over to the right side now. They hand it off to Barry Word. He's got a big hole. Mike Pryor and George Kuntz collaborate for the tackle, but not before Word picks up 10. 1st down, Minnesota.
It's still too early to tell what type of coordinator Billick is going to be, but obviously, just based upon the last 2 plays, they've made some adjustments in their running game, and it's been pretty successful so far.
1st down and 10. Minnesota, they trail by 4. Jordan goes tight to the right side. Ismail is in. He's flanked wide to the right. Quick setup. They flip it out to Chris Carter. He gets by Corey Harris and is knocked out of bounds at the 30. That'll be another 1st down. Leroy Butler along with Corey Harris as Green Bay found itself in the nickel.
Carter is one of the more underrated receivers in the NFL, and he knows that to get the recognition to join the likes of a Rice or Sharp or Tyson or Michael Irvin is the team's got to win. They won the division last year, but he shows that he still has the running ability after the catch.
Now you saw the problem the Vikings have had scoring until late in the game. They are 1-1. McMahon chased by Moss, lets it go, throws it away wide right in the general vicinity of Chris Carter.
And a difference between when McMahon throws it away and when Favre throws it away. There was no question that the only person who's going to catch that is somebody that bought a ticket to get in today.
Threw it in the general vicinity of the Cheeseheads. Charles Evans and Barry Word are going to run as split backs now. Jim McMahon, 8 of 11 for 80 yards.
And he's their leading rusher.
Reggie White. When they were teammates a year ago at Philadelphia, the 2 of them referred to as Buck and the Preacher Man. And despite, here's Barry Word. There's Barry Word. 1st down, Minnesota. Gain of 12.
You got to wonder how much that fine kickoff return by Ismail sparked and picked up this football team. But this is a different outfit playing the 2nd half. Good blocking there by Everett Lindsay on Johnny Holland. That opens it up for Word to get down the sideline and pick up another 1st down.
That's a gain of 12, and Barry Word now has 47 yards on 12 carries. 1st down and 10, opening drive, 3rd quarter. Minnesota trails 10-6. High formation. And that was Jordan in the backfield to lead the way for Barry Ward. And he's inside the 15 at the 14-yard line.
The Word was only averaging about 2 yards a carry in the 1st half. This is a totally different offensive team coming out. Watch the change of direction by Word as this was supposed to hit over the left side. Sees the huge hole over the right side and picks up a nice gain.
Charles Evans back in. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Barry Word now in his 5th year. Carter starts in motion. They hand it up the middle, and Johnny Holland makes the tackle. Help from Bryce Pop. That was Evans with the carry and Holland with a tackle. Holland, who had neck surgery in the offseason, and it has been successful, but frightening for him in terms of his future football career. Now he says everything is just fine.
And remarkable that he has the mental fortitude and courage to play football again. Shows you the love that he has for the game. The real inspirational leader of this team, especially now that Brian Noble's out.
3rd and 4. Four-man rush. McMahon, a lot of time. Whoa, boy. Leroy Butler dropped the interception.
And he dropped a potential touchdown because he had it wide open all the way to the goal line. This is good protection for McMahon. He does not see number 36 come over. Now look what's ahead of Butler. Ain't nothing there but a goalpost.
The only person who possibly could have got him was Chuck Evans. And now Brian Billick's Minnesota offense stalls again, and they will try another field goal. 29 yards out. Revez kicks it, and it's good. The Minnesota Vikings climb within one, but they still have scored only 2 TDs this year. Ushered in Titletown, USA in Green Bay, Wisconsin, with 6 NFL titles for the Packers and their 300th victory in 1964. The team's golden era, famous players, both offensive and defensive, formed one of the sport's greatest dynasties. And none of their heroes were more revered than their quarterback and their coach. Today they go for number 500. They have a 1-point lead, 10-9.
And if they don't get it today, they may not get it for a while. They got Dallas on the road next week, and then they're at home to Denver. And Denver is a totally different team than they've been in the past.
Here's Revez with a kickoff. Corey Harris waits for it at the goal line. Nice open field tackle on the special teams, and the tackle is made by Brett Novoselsky, number 85, and he's injured. Trying to make sure the numbness goes away in his right wrist. Phoenix has gone on top as Greg Davis has kicked a 54-yard field goal.
Another field goal.
Yeah.
Another long one in a dome.
You a big field goal fan?
Nope.
Didn't think so.
There's another long one. Another dome. That's 2 things we ought to do with that. Domes and field goals.
And field goals.
Big hit by Novoselsky here. That right shoulder hit Harris right on the thigh. That's what you call one of them stingers.
First down and 10. Packers' first possession of this half. Here comes Edgar Bennett, and there goes a beautiful defensive play by Vincey Glenn, number 25. Wow, did he fly to the ball.
They're not the fastest defensive secondary. In fact, Audrey McMillan told us yesterday he thinks they may be the slowest. But what they do is they all take their responsibilities very seriously. Glenn does a nice job of stepping inside of John Stevens' phantom block there. But they cover well for each other. They're experienced. They've played together for a long time. And this is one of the most underrated free safeties in football, Vincey Glenn.
2nd and 11. Packers lead by 1. Corners up, stunts, quick read, and the flip out to Ed West. Longtime veteran tight end makes his 2nd catch of the year, his 1st of the game. Pretty good read by Favre.
Yeah, and a pretty good tackle again by the secondary of the Vikings. This is big Ed West at almost 250 pounds, and little tiny Carl Lee comes over, does the smart thing, taking him low, and holds him to just a short gain.
That'll make it 3rd and 7. 10-9, Green Bay with 9:20 to go.
Another long field goal, Vern. What's going on?
That one wasn't in a dome, though. Far back. Fires it. Has Jackie Harris at the 43. A flag is down in the offensive backfield.
And a real late call by the referee, our umpire, Ron Botcham. This flag was thrown long after the ball was already in Jackie Harris's hands.
Here's Howard Rowe.
Holding, number 76 offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
They got Harry Galbraith, the right guard.
He's working against Barker here. That's Tootie Robbins pushing him away. Actually, there it is, John Randall in 76. Galbraith are tied up. I've seen a lot worse holding in this league. Saw how late that flag came in, didn't you?
That wipes out a 20-yard gain in the 1st down. It's 3rd and 17. Sharp on a crossing pattern. Screen pass. Edgar Bennett. They'll have to settle for the punt. Vincey Glenn made the tackle.
Glenn did it last time, the last game last year with the interceptions. This time, he's making all the tackles. And he and his mates get a standing ovation.
Brian Wagner to punt for the second time. Eric Gulliford, rookie free agent, one of 3 free agent rookies who made the Vikings this year. Nice and high, but returnable. Gulliford at the 22. Gets by Mike Pryor, and then is tackled at the 26-yard line. The stop is made by Frank Winters. A 54-yard punt. Nothing on the return. Playing his 3rd game for his new team, the Green Bay Packers. He's up against an old college teammate, Tim Irwin. Heck of a matchup so far, and Irwin may be winning it.
Well, he's only got 1 tackle today, but he has been he's been the concern of a couple of Vikings. Watch him take care of Jordan here, but there's Irwin and Scott Adams looking him up. That can be frustrating for Reggie.
First down and 10, Minnesota. Play fake. McMahon has to dodge a tackler. Still nifty after all these years. First down at the 39.
You know, Jim doesn't want to be doing this. It's like carrying around a time bomb, especially when you're 34 years old and you have a history of injuries, as Jim has, but showing no fear at all today, doing whatever it takes to move his team. He's got to be a little frustrated in their inability to get 6 points, too.
First down and 10 now. Vikings trail by 1, 10-9. Anthony Carter, they fake the reverse. Flip it out left side. It's dropped by Barry Word. Well, he had a big day catching the football 2 weeks ago against Chicago, but he's had a reputation, Dan, of not being a pass receiver.
Just a little over anxious that time. He had both McDaniel and Shriver out in front of him, and this might have been a big gain for the Vikings. Took his eyes off it, and you know, everybody's going to be saying, well, see, we told you he couldn't catch.
By the way, he has installed a program he started in Kansas City called A Word to the Wise. Barry buys 46 tickets to every game for young underprivileged kids, and they sit in a special section. He's doing that here in Minnesota as he did in Kansas City. Here's McMahon back. Going deep, Anthony Carter. It's overthrown. And awfully good coverage from Roland Mitchell. Detroit Phoenix having a heck of a tussle. Let's get an update. Here's Greg.
Vern, it is indeed. Watch Andre Ware. Time to throw. Down at the 10-yard line. Looks right, looks left. Brett Perriman back of the end zone. Touchdown. Extra point makes it 23-17. Lions lead the Cards. Vern?
Okay, Greg, we've got a 1-point game here with 7:05 to go 3rd quarter. Packers up 10-9. Minnesota 3rd and 10. The Vikings are 3 of 7 on 3rd down so far. Blitz. McMahon reads it. Finds Ismail. First down and more.
Good read by McMahon, feeling and seeing the blitz coming and getting the ball to a very explosive runner. But Ismail ought to be given a high five right now to number 81, Anthony Carter, as he lays out Roland Mitchell and sends the missile down the sidelines. Great comeback block by Anthony Carter. Got Ismail in the open.
That's a gain of 30 yards on 3rd and 10, 1st and 10 from the 31. Timeout, Vikings.
And that's a case of that 40-second clock. McMahon looked up, saw he only had 1 second left on the play clock and had to burn an expensive timeout.
Offensive coordinator of the Vikings, a 39-year-old graduate of Brigham Young. He began his career in management, a public relations assistant at the 49ers in 1979. When he resigned to take a coaching job, Bill Walsh said, "Are you crazy? You're going to get out of management and administration and get into this side of the game?" Well, he's done very well. We asked him yesterday what his long-range plans were. He said to get through Sunday. First down and 10. They're showing the blitz. They blitz on the run, and Barry Word is stuffed after a gain of a couple.
But Billick told us yesterday that part of that PR assistant's job was to be the gopher for all the coaches under Bill Walsh. So he knew that that's the part of the game that he wanted to get involved with, and not that front office stuff. He wanted to get out here on the football field. And he is one assistant coach that everybody will look up to. You have to. He's 6'5".
Bada bing.
Bada bing.
Second down and 8. McMahon gets rid of it. Tipped. Incomplete at the 5. Terrell Buckley.
We talked about the frustration McMahon must be feeling. He forced this ball into double coverage that time, but you have to do that sometimes to get your offense going. Watch, Buckley is back here, and so is Butler. But McMahon's going to give Chris Carter a chance to make this catch. A lot of people will consider that forcing it, and there's a late shot on Buck by the preacher man. But he held him and patted him on the ground. See that? You can't throw a flag against a guy that pats the quarterback on the shoulder.
Well, it dispelled that religious fervor with which he hit him. Third down. 10-9 Green Bay. 3rd and 8. They have to call timeout again because of the 40-second clock.
No, he got caught.
Got caught.
Time delay of game. And again, I just don't understand why the league has changed the game with this new rule. All it does is create wasted use of timeouts. It doesn't create all that many more plays in a game, and it cost the Vikings 5 yards that time.
Oh, there was a case where you had the incomplete pass down at the 5-yard line, and that 40-second clock starts almost immediately.
And you got receivers down there. They got to run
right.
all the way back to the huddle. It's just a rule this league and this game did not need. I'd like to see the league go back to the 45 seconds between plays.
3rd and 13, 10-9. Ismail's back in the lineup. He had a 30-yard catch earlier in this drive. McMahon with a lot of time, and Ismail gets popped. Oh boy, does he, by Corey Harris.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm supposed to say something stupid like "Welcome to the NFL." So I beat you to it, pal.
The fact that you wouldn't say it is why I enjoy working with you.
That's a pretty good lick by Harris on Ismail.
Now,
and guess what we got coming up, Vern?
A long field goal.
You bet. Long one.
In a dome.
Yeah.
Reveas, bothered by the sore ankle, will try this from 51 yards out. Got the distance. Got the 3. Vikings still can't buy a touchdown, but right now they don't care. They lead back in the Metrodome, where the Vikings had to punt on their first possession, but they have scored on each of the subsequent quartet, each time having to settle for a field goal, but that's allowed them to take the lead at 12-10. At the goal line, here's Corey Harris. Got a little opening. Got a big opening. Now it's a foot race with Qadri Ismail. Speed on speed, and Ismail saved the touchdown. But what a huge return for Corey Harris, who leads the NFL in that category. 65 yards.
And talking to special teams coach Nolan Cromwell, he felt that they could get a big one against the Vikings because of their Vikings are a little slow in covering kicks. But this is a good move by the Vikings to have Ismail as their safety man, as there's no way that Harris was going to outrun the missile down the sidelines. Great job of blocking there by John Yurkovich right there on Tennell. That opens up the hole, and the Packers are in business.
First down 10. 5:22 to go, third quarter. 12-10 Minnesota. They're going to blitz. Stevens comes right. Searching for room, and he picks up a couple.
And that's one of the few lateral type of plays, running plays the Packers have used today. Unusual that they would try that because of the team speed, superior team speed of the Vikings. But you got to change it up. They've been pounding them pretty good up the middle. Holmgren must have felt that they were set up for something wide.
Green Bay, as they have in the previous 2 games against the Vikings, scored on their first series of the game. They went 85 yards. They got a field goal right before the half. That gave them a 10-6 lead at the time. Here's Favre, and he throws it incomplete to Stevens, who wasn't ready for it. And Favre was under huge pressure. Rams were leading Houston last we heard. Let's check in again. Here's Greg Gumbel.
All right, Vern, at the Astrodome, big play here. Warren Moon, tough day today, but Ernest Givens down the sideline, 80 yards and a touchdown, 14-13. Rams lead in the third, and a little boogie fever in the end zone. Vern, you and Dan Fouts know all about that. Back to you in Minnesota.
Right we do, Greg.
I was afraid they were going to show a field goal or something as a highlight. That's my kind of highlight, Vern. 80-yard touchdown pass.
Field goal in the dome. Third down. Stunts, no blitz. Favre in the middle, intercepted. Todd Scott has it. Down at the 40.
Good pressure by the front 4 of the Vikings. Favre steps up into a nice pocket, but this overthrows sharp. And Scott is there playing center field for the easy pick. Not only did Favre throw the interception, he's going to throw a tire here as well after the interception. He loses his shoe way over the head of Sterling Sharp. And Scott has his first interception of the year.
And the Green Bay Packers waste a 65-yard kickoff return by Corey Harris. Todd Scott.
But that's really the ultimate type of defense to have. You can play zone coverage, very loose and very smart. You can look at the quarterback and everything, knowing as a defensive back that you're going to get outstanding pressure on the quarterback. Dolman was in there that time, as was Randall, Thomas, and Barker. Forced the young Favre to step up into the pocket with all that momentum, and he overthrew a wide open Sharp.
Second game of our doubleheader this afternoon. The 49ers go to New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints. All of you will see that one coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern time this afternoon.
And how about Wade Wilson?
Reborn.
Reborn again down on Bourbon Street. Kind of goes together.
Rams lead Houston by 1. Miami rolling over Buffalo. That's a short field goal. Did you notice that?
There's another
short
one.
field goal.
I can't believe we're putting up highlights or putting emphasis on all these field goals, Vern. I know the game's called football.
Yes.
But I've yet to see anybody buy a ticket and say, hey, we're going to go to this game. We're going to watch 6 field goals today. It's going to be a great game.
Now from the memory bank of Alex Karras, my dear friend Dan Fouts. And Garo Yepremian is shaking his head. First down and 10. That's Mike Tice in motion. They toss it and come this way. Barry Word, a couple of yards. George Kuntz makes the tackle. George Kuntz, who asked to move in and take the place of Brian Noble. Brian with that knee injury 2 weeks ago, and Dan and I had a chance to chat with him this morning, and spirits seem okay in the circumstance.
Yeah, he's had a tough go of it. He's had to go back into the hospital and get his knee cleaned out. But his message to his Packer team was keep the intensity up. That's what it's going to take to beat the Vikings today.
Right now it's a 12-10 Minnesota lead with 3:45 to go, third quarter. McMahon back. Boy, did Chris Carter get knocked on his backside. He was trying. And McMahon is down at the 45-yard line. It'll be third down. There's Chris. Another former Eagle along with Jim McMahon and Reggie White. Reggie, by the way, had a sack taken away from him by the league. He was given credit for 2 sacks against the Eagles. The Eagles protested to the league office and said one of the sacks on Randall Cunningham was actually a run. And so the league office agreed and took the sack away from White. He's now, oh, fumble, Green Bay ball. I don't think McMahon was ready for the snap.
No, it's an early snap by Schreiber. This is a new part of this offense with Billick, and it's a shotgun. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of teams have gone away from the shotgun formation, because the possibility of a miscue between the center and the quarterback. Schreiber thinks he hears something. Bang, he's the only guy that hears something. That rest of his offensive line are still in their stance. You got to hang that one on the center and perhaps the new design of the offense.
To Schreiber right now. Not sure what happened, but it's first down Green Bay. Rush from Dolman. Edgar Bennett tackled by Del Rio almost immediately at the 41.
But regardless of whose fault it is, whether it's the quarterback or the centers, it's just another type of formation that maybe you just don't need. We never ran it in San Diego, and it wasn't because it's not solid or smart to do. It's just that there's always a chance for a bad snap. That was a good snap. It just was too early.
Second down and 6. Ezra Tuolo is in the lineup. Vikings showing the blitz look. They may have jumped offside. Flags are down. So's Favre, but hold everything. Did they come early? There's John
Barker
Randall
was way offsides, Vern. You saw it. You called it. But the worrisome thing for the Packers is that John Randall got in almost untouched on Brett Favre.
Offside, Minnesota.
What Favre has to do, and perhaps he did at that time, is change up his cadence, go on a different count, a longer count.
Offsides, number 92 defense. 5-yard penalty, repeat second down.
That wipes out the sack. Roy Barker is going up against Tootie Robbins today. First time he's played him. Tootie Robbins is listed at 315 pounds. Listed at 315. Yesterday, Henry Thomas was talking about their first matchup, and he said Barker is going to think he looks like a huge state trooper the first time he sees him.
Not many bigger than Tootie.
What an incongruous name. Bennett has the first down at the 30.
Hey, that shows you how crucial that offsides penalty by Barker was, because the Packers with just second and about 2 or 3 yards easily picked up a first down, and now they're inside the 30-yard line.
Offense is just a yard apart.
That's the way it should be in this series. Both teams have won 31 games, and there's been one tie. So it figures to be close.
Right now we've got 1:15 to go, third quarter. Packers trail by 2. They've got a first down and 10. This follows the McMahon fumble. Blitz. Favre, good protection. Finds Sterling Sharp. He's great after he makes the catch, and he's got a first down at the 13. Brett Favre got a couple of sensational blocks to give him time to get rid of the football.
Absolutely, Vern. You got to get good pass protection, and Bennett is right here. Watch the job he does protecting the quarterback as he keeps them away, Strickland, and now watch Sharp just carry McMillan an extra 10 yards down inside the 20. Great block as Strickland is sent airborne, and Sharp's in the secondary.
That's 3 or 4 outstanding blocks by Edgar Bennett. Backs are split. They slip it to Stevens. He dances out of a tackle and goes left, but he can't get lateral, and he loses a yard to the 14-yard line. Carl Lee makes the stop. And that'll be the final play of number 3. That's the end of the third quarter with our score. The Minnesota Vikings leading 12-10, but the Green Bay Packers threatening to reclaim the lead. Somewhere in the middle of that skyline is the Fauché Tower, which until 1972 was the tallest building in Minneapolis at 32 stories. There's been a little construction in the last 20 years. You come with me up here, you get a Scandinavian history
The
lesson.
Fauché Tower.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I haven't even used the word Ufta yet.
No. No reason to yet. This has been a good one.
That's right. We begin quarter number 4. Vern Lundquist and Dan Fouts. There were a couple of Green Bay Uftas on the interceptions, and McMahon had an Ufta on the fumble. But overall, terrific game. Brett Favre. He's 15 of 23 so far. Second down and 10. Favre will run. And he's down at the 7-yard line. Tackle is made by Carlos Jenkins, number 51. That'll set up a third down.
That was they faked the wraparound draw that time, and Favre did a good job of not forcing the ball and then picking up yardage. One thing you want to do here is you got to come away with points, whether it's a field goal or not. The field goal, of course, would give the Packers a 1-point lead. Good job at not forcing the ball and risking an interception by Favre.
3rd and 4. Packers trail by 2. Sharp in a slot to the left. Favre doesn't look for him, goes instead down near the 2-yard line. Jack Del Rio makes the tackle. And the spot of the ball, ever so significant here. That was Ed West with a catch. And time for a measurement.
It's a heck of a throw and catch by Favre and West. There was real tight coverage by the Vikings. He made the catch, but I'm not sure he got enough for the first down, though.
Didn't.
Hey, you go for the lead? Of course you do.
Sure you
Gotta
do.
kick this chip shot field goal.
Sure you do.
Holmgren gambled to end the first half. Got his team in range for Jackie's field goal, and now Jackie will hopefully, for Holmgren and crew, put him ahead.
Chris Jackie from 21 yards in a Green Bay lead. He's perfect so far this season, as are most other kickers in the league. And this will be for the lead from 21. He's already connected from 49. Ryan Wagner will hold. Frank Winters is the center. Packers back on top. We'll return to Minneapolis after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Green Bay up by 1. Officially 20 yards out. Here's Qadry Ismail, who returned one 44 yards out earlier. Ismail at the goal line. My. He is fun to watch.
Really exciting. And the reason is because he runs so hard. You can really see his track background. Took that one back 37 yards. He's got that nice high knee action, pumping the arms really hard. And he will be the next superstar in this town. He loves to play to the crowd.
Well, he's got such an engaging personality to go along with the obvious talent. He really lights it up when he walks in a room. First down and 10. Backs in the eye for the Vikings, who now trail by 1. McMahon hands it off to Barry Word, who is grabbed up around the neck. Looked like a calf rope. Wayne Simmons made the tackle. One of 2 number 1 draft choices for the Green Bay Packers. Again, getting his first start today.
And that's what Simmons needs. He came on the blitz that time and ran Word down from behind.
Had a half sack earlier, one that he shared, and it's second down and 9. Ismail goes to the left side. Carter and Carter come to the near side. This is Chris Carter in motion. Now he comes back, followed by Corey Harris. McMahon chased by Brock. throws it away, but he did throw it away, and Matt Brock was right in his face.
We've seen this matchup for a number of years. Tim Irwin, 76, and Reggie, he goes inside, and Irwin just pulls him down. Should have got flagged for holding, but let him go before the official could see it. There you see Irwin apologizing to Reggie right now. Got away with one there, big fella.
3rd and 9. Stunts by the defensive line. Screen pass is dropped by Barry Word. Well, he's going to get his reputation back in a hurry. That's his 2nd drop pass of this half.
And they've both been very easy balls to catch. Both have been on screen passes, and both times Word just took his eye off the ball, too anxious to get downfield after the catch. But the Packer defense and their fans realize that the game could be theirs now, as they have grabbed the momentum, forced the Vikings after just 3 plays to come in with their punter.
Harry Newsom's 2nd punt of the game. Terrell Buckley averaging 11 yards per return in this young season. Got that on his first one. This is nice and high, and again returnable. Buckley dodges 1, 2, and can't dodge the 3rd. Brett Novoselsky, an excellent special teams tackle. 43 on the punt. Win today. They won their 400th victory in '77. The cold remained in Lambeau Field, and the 49ers were the victims. Bart Starr, maybe the most single important Packer player ever, was the coach.
Bill Curry was his line coach, and David Whitehurst his quarterback. The Vikings, rather the Packers, have 80 yards to go to solidify number 500. If they just get a field goal, they'll win this game, because the Vikings have shown no ability at all this entire year to score a touchdown. A field goal would give the Packers a 4-point lead.
Mentioned here's the Green Bay offense since the first quarter. They've been outscored, but the key factor, as Dan just said, is Minnesota's inability to get it into the end zone. 4 field goals they've had to settle for. By the way, Green Bay, if it wins its 500th today, would become the 2nd team in the National Football League to get to that level. Chicago Bears have won 500 plus. They're quite some ways in the league. Here's Favre back. Thompson goes deep, and his man was held up. We're going to have a defensive holding call that will wipe out this interception by Vincey Glenn. We're going to get a holding call. Sterling Sharp was held up, and all of this is going to go for naught.
The only place this one's going is in the highlight reel, because it was a great catch by Glenn, but either defensive holding or an illegal chuck.
Could be either one.
There you see the call, wipes out a big interception.
Holding. Number 39 defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's business partner on business partner. Carl Lee on Sterling Sharp. And it wipes out the Vincey Glenn interception.
And you see Carl Lee explaining to Vincey, yeah, I did get him to the right side of the screen.
Wasn't that quick. Wasn't that quick either.
But it still is defensive holding. I think we have time.
First down and 10 at the 25-yard line.
The gremlins are working.
Got a little glitch in the machinery. Here's John Stevens. He bangs his way out across the 30 to the 32-yard line.
And he hit Jack Del Rio, middle linebacker for the Vikings, dead in the hole at the point of attack, so to speak. And John Stevens just drilled Del Rio, knocked him over, and picked up extra yards. Watch number 55 here. Del Rio come over, and he's going to meet Stevens right here. And Stevens gets lower than Del Rio, breaks the tackle, and picks up an extra 5-6 yards. Great run by John Stevens.
Second down and 2, Green Bay. The clock shows 11:50 remaining. Packers up by 1. Second and 2. Favre may be changing the play at the line. Here comes the blitz, and he throws it away. Flag is down. Did we get a delay call?
Yep. Again, that 40-second clock. And I don't mind beating this one to death.
Delay of game offense, 5-yard penalty.
A totally
Second down.
unnecessary rule change by the NFL. Go from 45 seconds to 40. It's had a negative effect on the ball game.
Interesting, Dan. In the summer leading up to the year, there was so much conversation about the new interpretation of what was going to be allowed under intentional grounding, and that hasn't been a factor at all. And almost as an aside, they changed from 45 to a 40-second clock, and that's been really important.
They're going to have to do something about it because it's going to affect the outcome of a lot of games this year.
Second and 7 instead of second and 2. Minnesota's blitzing again. Favre reads it, finds Sterling Sharp, and Carl Lee cannot stop him from getting the first down.
I'm not sure Dick Butkus could stop Sterling Sharp one-on-one. You see the smile, and he knows why. I mean, he caught this ball 3 yards short of the first down, and there was no hesitation and no doubt in his mind that he was just going to get as many yards as he needed for the first down. Didn't bowl over Carl Lee, just outmuscled him.
He was laughing with us a couple of weeks ago. He said, I don't think anybody's ever going to put me in the Jerry Rice category. I just like to get there financially.
Well, nobody's in Rice's category, but Sharp may be in a category all by himself, too.
They play fake, and Favre goes deep. He's going deep for Clayton. It's tipped and incomplete. Boy, what terrific defensive coverage by Audrey McMillan. And then Vincey Glenn came over to help out, but it was McMillan who was there all the way.
This is a line drive throw by Favre, and when you throw this one deep like this, you got to put more air under it. You got to throw it higher to give your receiver a chance to adjust. You see that Clayton was behind McMillan, and if Favre just lofts this ball down the field, it's an easy touchdown for the Packers. But he tried to be too fine with it and aimed it and threw a line drive. That's why McMillan knocked it away.
Second down and 10. 11:09 to go in the ball game. Blitz again. They find Robert Brooks out of the backfield. That's a good read by Favre.
Well, it shows you that Favre isn't always looking for Sterling Sharp. The reason he wasn't looking for Sharp that time is because Brooks came in and took his place. Sharp was on the sidelines. So the offense is designed not only to Sharp, but to the guy that replaces Sharp.
It'll be 3rd and 5. 13-12, Green Bay leads. Shot, the game clock now down at 10.
And Sharp is still on the sidelines.
Favre, that'll be short of the first down, and the Packers will have to give up the football. Robert Brooks makes the tackle, but Carlos Jenkins, or rather made the catch, and Jenkins made the tackle.
Big defensive stand for the Vikings. Remember, they could have had an interception. The penalty against Carl Lee wiped it out, but that didn't bother them. They just said, okay, Pack, you're only going to get 3 more plays, and then punt.
Eric Gulliford is back to return the punt. Brian Wagner. There is no flag down. They made contact with the ball. The punter is still down, but there was no flag thrown. Howard Rowe, the referee, was watching Brian Wagner, who was hit, and he rules that contact was made with the football. A 48-yard punt, 5 on the return.
And those boos are from the Packer fans here at the Dome. That is roughing the kicker. Vincey Glenn got his right hand on Wagner's knee.
Bad call.
Gives you an edge.
Back to play, and McMahon on first down is going to be hit and dropped. Inside the 10 at the 9. That's the second sack. Let's go back and look at the punt.
Vincey Glenn is number 25, and he gets by the personal protector and then gets his right hand right on the thigh of Brian Wagner. Now, if you look at the referee, Howard Rowe here, watch as he staring in on the play, inexplicably does not call this roughing the punter. Unbelievable non-call by Howard Rowe.
And as a result, Minnesota has the ball in the 2nd down 11. They trail by 1. McMahon play action. Drills it. That's a 1st down at the 22. Catch is made by Anthony Carter. The gain is 13. The conversation is between Butler and Carter, and it seemed friendly.
And you see McMahon moving his hands, telling the coach, come on, let's get some tempo going here. Get that play in. Let's get something going. We can't be taking too much time and risking getting a delay of game penalty or using a timeout.
They got a 1st and 10 on that 13-yard gain. Here comes an alignment change by the Green Bay Packers, and the handoff goes up the middle. Johnny Holland makes the tackle on Barry Word.
And remember, the Vikings only have those 2 timeouts. McMahon had to burn one earlier up against that 40-second clock.
8:29 remaining in the ball game. Brian Billick, whose roommate his senior year at Brigham Young University. Brigham Young? I speak for a living. So does Todd Christensen, and that was the guy he roomed with.
He must have lost the bet.
2nd down and 6. They reverse it to Anthony Carter, and he is stopped at the 31. That's the 2nd time that Carter has run a reverse, for which he has gained some renown. 2nd time this season, not this game, but he doesn't get much then. Doubleheader for you today on CBS in the 2nd game. Much anticipated first meeting of the year between the San Francisco 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. That's coming up from the Superdome, and those of you in New York will see that game.
49ers have had amazing success in the Superdome. It'll be tougher for them today, though.
3rd and 1. Blitz. McMahon goes deep. Chris Carter, and the ball is up for grabs and incomplete. Terrell Buckley recovered in time to knock it away.
What you saw there was just good zone coverage by Buckley. That was his responsibility. The deep outside third of the field, he comes off the inside receiver, Carter, and makes the play.
Terrell Buckley, who 2 weeks ago said something I couldn't believe. He found covering receivers more difficult in college than he did in the National Football League.
Yeah, well.
I filed that one away in the category of things to view with some degree of skepticism. Here's Buckley. Maneski.
I know one thing. Returning punts in college was a whole lot easier. He's running backwards on that play, trying to make too much out of nothing.
Reggie White and his Green Bay defensive teammates get to rest. Packers lead by 1. No, it's associated with this game. In June of '79, the 49ers traded defensive back Tony Dungy to the New York Giants for a defensive back named Ray Rhodes. Now, Tony Dungy, the defensive coordinator of the Vikings, Ray Rhodes, his counterpart for Green Bay, and it's not out of the realm of importance to say whichever defensive unit dominates the final 7 minutes will dictate who wins this game.
And I'm sure both of them will say that that was a deal that benefited both teams.
Edgar Bennett. Interesting how they're trying to run wide here in the 2nd half.
Yeah, they had so much success in the first half, pounding the Vikings right up the middle, but adjustments are made at halftime. The Vikings have changed defense, or at least have been more conscious of that run up the middle, and so Holmgren is trying to go wide, and he got 5 yards out of that one, so that's got to be considered a successful play. But Edgar Bennett's had a heck of an afternoon, not only carrying the ball, but we've seen some great blocks from number 34.
2nd down and 5. Splitbacks behind Favre. Blitz is coming. Favre reads it. Sterling Sharp slipped, and the ball is over his head. As Sharp made his cut, he lost his footing. And Carl Lee was trailing him. 3rd and 5. Roy Barker gasping for breath. It's about this time in this ball game that stamina could be important as well.
Well, he's working against that big state trooper, you know, with a lot of room to run around. Tootie.
He's gotten a couple of tickets, too.
Yeah.
Not for speeding. Favre has to let it go early. Incomplete. 4th down. Henry Thomas and Roy Barker were in the area of Brett Favre.
And what the Vikings have done, part of their adjustment is to move their defensive linemen and crowd the middle more. Thomas is working man-on-man against Campen, and it's just no matchup. And again, not only does Thomas force the early throw, he hits the quarterback.
Brian Wagner on to punt. Gulliford will return. And the Vikings, barring misfortune, should come out of this with really good field position. That's a dandy punt. Gulliford at the 31. Pretty good downfield coverage at the 39-yard line. Marcus Wilson, number 29, a 48-yard punt and 8 on the return.
Hurry home, go watch that one. Great line at the end of that movie by Julia Roberts.
Yes. Here's Word going left. Reggie White up on top.
And I'm not going to give it away.
Oh, I was ready.
No, you got to watch it.
I will. Reggie White, 1 sack now in this game. That's his 3rd tackle.
And he doesn't mind moving all along different spots on that defensive line, because at this point in his career, he says that makes the game more challenging, but it also makes it more fun. And if you play a long time in this league, you've played it because you enjoy it and you have fun.
And you see where he is this time, over the center. 2nd down. Word. Knocked down.
That's another big play by Wayne Simmons coming on the blitz, catching Word from behind. Simmons has been impressive in this, his first NFL start.
5:28 remaining in the game, a 1-point Green Bay lead. Ismail comes back in the lineup, 3rd and 5. These two teams don't see each other again. There's the state trooper.
He's looking at that clock.
I know. 5:10 remaining. 3rd and 5. McMahon rolling right, fires it out. It's caught. Ismail gets enough for the 1st down at the 50-yard line.
Big, smart play by Ismail. He had to come back to catch the ball, and he wasn't sure if he had enough yardage, but he did have enough strength to lower his head, dive forward right up to the 50-yard line and pick up a key 1st down.
That's his 3rd catch today to go along with the 2 big kickoff returns. 1st and 10, Minnesota. They trail 13-12, 4.5 remaining in the game. Tice is hit as he makes the catch. He gets 1 yard.
He made a great catch on a very short pass. McMahon kind of floated it into John Tice, number 87 here. Tice's head wasn't turned around, but McMahon threw it early anyway. Great catch with George Coons right in his chest, and Buckley coming up late.
Barry Word comes out. Charles Evans is in the lineup as the running back. Tice and Jordan line up tight to the right side. The 2 receivers are wide left. Bill Moss jumps, gets back and set. No flag. McMahon out of the backfield to Evans. 1st down, Vikings, as he is run out of bounds at the 36.
This is what you get when you have veteran leadership at the quarterback position. McMahon, very cool and confident, is passing those feelings on to his teammates. You see he's not in a big hurry now. The clock is stopped because Evans went out of bounds. He's real close to getting his field goal kicker in range. Revez has a career long of 52 and a 51-yarder today.
It's 1st and 10, Minnesota, 3:36 to go in regulation play. across the middle, deep, tipped, and almost intercepted. Leroy Butler stepped in front of Derek Tennell.
Great break on the ball by Butler. He's to the right side of the screen here. It's an out and up move by Tennell, and Butler just comes right over his shoulder and almost picked that one off.
Ismail back in the lineup offensively. Tennell comes out. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Anthony Carter and Chris Carter go to the left. Qadri Ismail comes wide right. Jordan off the line to the right side. Draw play, Evans. And the pile carries him down to the 31-yard line. Well, they are within field goal range now.
Yeah, if they were to kick one from here, it would be about a 48, 49-yarder. And you know that's in the back of Billick's mind. You'd like to see the clock run down a little bit more. A lot of time left for the Packers. They have 3 timeouts remaining. And they might think about using them if this play does not pick up a 1st down.
3rd down from the 32. Blitz. McMahon reads it. Hot receiver. It's tipped away by Johnny Holland. Intended for Chris Carter.
You talked about Ray Rhodes. This is 2 weeks in a row now. They've made a big play on a safety blitz where they had a defensive lineman drop out. Brock intercepted Randall Cunningham 2 weeks ago. Watch, it's David Grant, number here, 98, right here in the middle. And it's they forced the Vikings to throw to the hot receiver, and now they set up a real long field goal.
For the lead, Rivas from 49 yards. Hit the crossbar, bounced back. It remains 13-12.
That's 2 games in a row now where the kicker here at the Dome has hit this crossbar and not had the ball go through. This just hits dead square on the crossbar and comes back this way. What a heartbreaker for Rivas.
Got it, got it. No, we don't. Packer ball, 2:40 remaining. 13-12, they lead the Vikings. Edgar Bennett goes right, picks up 2. Roy Barker makes the tackle.
And the Vikings immediately should call timeout. Let about 3 seconds go off the clock there. That's their 2nd.
That is what they have done. Use one of the 3.
Now they have another one to use and then the 2-minute warning. So in effect, they will have 4 timeouts in this half. That 2-minute warning is going to come at a perfect time because they won't have the ability to stop the clock.
13-12, Green Bay, Minnesota. They had to use one earlier when that 40-second clock ran down. Now there's one of the subtle things about the 40-second clock again.
Yeah, you talk about delay of game penalties. Well, if you don't want that delay of game, you're going to have to use a timeout. Wouldn't Denny Green love to have that one timeout to use here?
49ers and the Saints coming up as the 2nd game of the doubleheader. We're 2:31 away from that. And the city of New York is going to get a rare doubleheader today. The Giants off. And so they will get to see that game. 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. 2nd down, 2:31 remaining. 2nd and 8. Packers by 1. Keep it on the ground. Flag is down. And that's thrown by the umpire, which usually indicates it's going to be against the offensive team.
And it stops the clock.
Right. Holding.
This saves the Vikings a timeout. Not only you lose yardage, You lose
Holding
seconds.
Number 76 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Galbraith.
Galbraith is number 76. He gets the flag. There he is, the right guard. And it's a running play, and he just hooks John Randall. You see the quickness of Randall. Just got inside Galbraith, and he had no choice but to reach out and grab him. Big play by John Randall.
And it'll be second down and 18. 2:26 to go. Fuad Rivas hoping for one more chance. On the ground, Edgar Bennett goes right. Nothing. 3rd and 17. Well, they're keeping it close to the vest, trying, I guess, to avoid the mistake.
Well, also avoid that great pass rush. The Vikings, although they haven't gotten as far very many times today, they have pressured him and hurried him. Vikings burned their last time out. Smart play by Bennett, though, taking that sweep and not going out of bounds.
Clock is stopped with 2:16 remaining. And Minnesota will get the stop the clock at the 2-minute warning. This game is presented by authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Minnesota Vikings, and the National Football League is prohibited. Both teams 1-1, chasing Detroit. Minnesota's got to go to San Francisco next week, so no easy road for them. The 49ers playing next on CBS. They are on the road at New Orleans. And these Packers go down to Dallas, and the Cowboys, of course, in their bye week, BYE. And they'll have number 22 in the starting lineup next week. The Cowboys will when they face Green Bay.
And the thing that faces Favre right now is the 3rd and 17, a real long yardage situation. The one thing he's not going to do is try to force the ball into a receiver. In fact, Holmgren may decide, hey, let's just run the ball here and punt it back to Minnesota and see if our defense can hold them. One thing the Packer defense has done very well today is they've kept Minnesota out of the end zone.
Fuad Rivas just missed from 49. Had it hit the crossbar and bounced back. Has kicked 4 field goals out of 5 today. That number 4 equals a career high in a single game. 3rd and 17. 4-man rush. Screen pass again. John Stevens. It'll be 4th down, and Green Bay will have to give it up. Well, for a team that had not run the screen so far this season, they've used it more than adequately today.
And what Holmgren has forced is that the Vikings will get the ball back, but they'll have no timeouts to use.
We're at the 2-minute warning. Packers lead 13-12. Green Bay and Minnesota meeting for the 64th time. The series is even. And that time may be broken today. Fuad Rivas hoping that his right foot will get one more chance. And now the Packers will kick it away. Brian Wagner will punt deep to Eric Gulford. Todd Scott dances around. Here comes Minnesota. Wagner gets it away. It's a dandy. Here comes the downfield coverage and a fair catch. He is called because Corey Harris had gotten outside his contained man and was in the face of Eric Gulford. A 51-yard punt and a big one for the Green Bay Packers. Now here comes Jim McMahon, and they do not have any timeouts left.
And McMahon needs to take the Vikings about 50 yards here to get Rivas within 50-yard field goal. If he would have gotten them to 48 the last time, the Vikings would have the lead here. Remember, that ball hit the crossbar.
1:53 remaining. Ismail comes wide right. Carter and Carter go to the left. Steve Jordan is tight to the right, and Barry Ward is on the bench. They've got Evans in there for his pass-catching ability. The pass is left and incomplete.
You know, missing on first down is not that big a deal because, you know, you're going to get 3 more shots at it. No timeouts. A lot of these passes will be directed to the sidelines. You wonder how the change in coordinatorship has changed the hurry-up offense of the Vikings. Probably not very much.
13-12 Green Bay. 1:49 to go, 2nd and 10. Packers stunt. McMahon, good downfield coverage, is forced to run. And he is knocked off his feet at the 21-yard line. The clock won't stop. George Kuntz made the tackle.
Viking receivers just aren't getting open, though. McMahon is back there. He's got good protection, but nobody's getting open for him.
Ismail and Carter at the left side along with Jordan. Anthony Carter comes wide right. 3rd and 6. Reggie White chases. The ball is caught, but Evans can't get on his feet, and George Kuntz makes the tackle.
Evans got hung up in his blocker's feet. They tripped him just as he caught the ball, and then he couldn't get up off the turf.
4th down and 8. Less than a minute remaining. The Carters are on the right side. McMahon fires it deep, caught by Chris Carter. 1st down at the 38.
Now Jim has got to get him to the line of scrimmage and spike the ball, stop the clock, go back in the huddle.
35 seconds to go. Here's the spike. The clock is stopped with 33 remaining.
Now the Vikings need about 30 yards to get Rivez within a 50-yard field goal. I like that play selection by McMahon that time because what he did is he rolled out away from all that pass rush, and it gave him an extra second or two to find Carter down the field. And also it got him away from the preacher man. What's his name?
2nd and 10. 33 seconds to go. Packers up by 1. McMahon lets it go right side, trying to get out of bounds. It does. Stops the clock with 27 seconds left.
I tell you, Ismail has really been impressive today for doing little things like catching that ball primarily, but also having the strength and the intelligence to get out of bounds. That's as big a play as his kickoff return was earlier the second half.
They still need another 22 yards or so, 23, before they are in Rivea's comfortable range.
But you notice there was another controlled rollout by McMahon and the Vikings. He needs that extra time.
3rd and 1. Carter, Chris Carter, is to the left side with Anthony Carter. McMahon looks that direction, fires it for Chris Carter. They have a 1st down at the 50, and 24 seconds remaining.
A really cool job of McMahon knowing what his team needs to move the ball down the field, almost to midfield now. Give me the signal over again, coach. That's what that hand signal means. Still needs about 20 yards though, Vern.
Anthony Carter breaks to the left side. Qadri Ismail comes right, so does Chris Carter. 4-man front, prevent defense almost now for the Green Bay Packers. McMahon being chased by Bryce Poff, lets it go right side. What a catch, but he was out of bounds. Acrobatic grab by a man who's done that many, many times in his career.
I've never seen anybody make as many one-handed catches. That was a left-handed one-handed catch by Chris Carter. Watch this one. That's remarkable. And no doubt about it either. Didn't juggle it at all. Prettiest incompletion I've ever seen.
2nd down and 10. 18 seconds left. Ball at the 50. Need to get it to about the 33. Or the 30 or inside. McMahon on the rollout again. Lets it go right side. Incomplete for Ismail. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, they're really up against it now because McMahon is forced to throw the ball to the sidelines because they don't have any timeouts. He would love to throw the ball over the middle, but you're right up against it. Can you throw the ball over the middle, get everybody up to the line of scrimmage, spike the ball, stop the clock, and then bring your field goal kicker out? Tough to do.
3rd and 10.
This should be his last shot at the first down try. Of course, if they don't make it here, they'll go for the touchdown on 4th down.
Gilliford comes in as an extra wide receiver. Again, a 4-man rush, and McMahon flushed right. Goes deep, man is wide open. Eric Gilliford has the catch and is out of bounds with 6 seconds to go.
Just a great play by McMahon, and Gilliford staying open. It's almost as if he came off the sidelines. The Packers never saw him. Makes the catch, gets out of bounds, and here comes Revez for the game winner.
One of 3 rookie free agents who made the team this year. Eric Gilliford from 45. Fawad Revez has kicked it home. Amazing.
McMahon and Billick on the sidelines. But this is why this is one of the great rivalries in football. This one will be remembered forever as the 5 field goal game by Fawad Revez.
Brian Billick told us yesterday, I just want to get through Sunday. In order to accomplish it, the 39-year-old new offensive coordinator has called upon the talents of a man who was once a teammate at Brigham Young, Jim McMahon. McMahon finds Eric Gilliford, who lined up in a slot to the right side for 45 yards down to the 6-yard line. Just amazing.
McMahon directed his offense absolutely perfectly. Knew what he needed to have, but how would you ever expect to find a guy so wide open in a secondary playing a prevent defense? A big, big mistake by the Packers secondary. Let Gilliford get wide open, set up the easy chip shot for number 7, Fawad Revez.
Play of the game. Corey Harris laterals it back to Mark Shimura, and it's over. Jim McMahon rallies the Minnesota Vikings to a come-from-behind victory when he connects with Eric Gilliford for 45 yards to set up the game-winning field goal. Fawad Revez with 5 field goals. There are 2 business companions, Lee and Sterling Sharp. So for Dan Fouts, I'm Vern Lundquist saying so long from Minneapolis. The final score 15-13.